بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. Then we come الفصل الثاني الحيض, and then he speaks about the definition of حيض, which some of it is not correct in my opinion. I tell you why it's not correct. He says the hayd is the type of a blood that is related. Why do we need to know the hayd? Because it is related to iddah, to divorce. We need to know how it works, what system it has. So in case of divorce, the wife has to wait until after the third period, and she's released. She can remarry. That waiting period is called what? Iddah. It's called iddah. Okay? And it says that it has 3 days. The minimum of it is 3 days. Now, if it is less than 3 days, what is it considered? Istihada. And the maximum amount of it is what? 10 days. If it goes beyond 10 days, then also it is considered istihada. So hayd, religiously, is the blood that she sees from minimum 3 days until maximum 10 days. This type of a blood is called hayd. Anything below 3 days, anything more than 10 days is not considered hayd. It is istihada. What is the difference between them? In the hayd, she cannot fast, she cannot pray. In the istihada, she can fast and she can pray too. And she can do tawaf too. If she's in the state of ihram and she goes to hajj, she can do tawaf too. Okay? Now he describes it that it's a black, thick, warm, gets out with discharge with burning. None of these are true. It's not a black, it's not thick, it's not necessarily warm, doesn't come out necessarily with burning. No. Maybe they used to have lots of spicy at that time. But
so we can scratch that also?
No, don't scratch it. Leave it there, but it's not. I asked, I made a survey, I read other books. These are not necessarily the description of the blood.
Oh.
Because he says it's a black. No, they say it's red. Okay? He says it's definitely thick. No, not necessarily thick. It could be thin. He says it's warm, not necessarily warm. And he says يخرج بحرقة. It is discharged with burning, not necessarily. Okay? وَقَدْ يُشْتَبَهُ. It could be confused with the virginity blood. How do we know this is virginity blood or the blood of menstruation? It is examined with a piece of cotton, and if, he says, according to him, if the blood comes on the sides, here, not the middle, then this is, he says, according to him, this is the blood of virginity. If it comes on the side of the cotton, you know what I mean? On the border of it, if the blood is there. Every blood that a girl under the age of 9 shar'iha, 9 lunar, not solar, lunar, hijri, she sees, then it is not considered hayd. So girls who are under the age of 9, they don't experience menstruation. Okay?
How many years is that?
Now, 8.5, yeah. And he says it comes from the right side, but again, this is not proven. This is a myth. When women hear this, they start laughing. They say, no, there is not such a thing. Now, the minimum period of hayd is 3 days. وأكثره 10, the maximum 10 days. وكذا أقل الطهر. What is أقل الطهر? طهر is the period of tahara that a woman experience is also 10 days. Meaning, between two hayd, two periods, it cannot be 9 days. Minimum it has to be 10 days. Between two periods. So if she gets clean of her period today, and 8 days later she finds another blood, she does not consider that as hayd. Yes, if after 10 days she sees a blood, she can consider that as to be period, but not less than 10 days. Now, he says, وَهَلْ يَشْتَرِطُ التَّوَالِي فِي الثَّلَاثَةِ. Should it be the 3 days, which we said minimum 3 days, should these 3 days be continuous? Or no, she sees one day and then one day stops, and then she sees the other day and one day stops until 10 days. Or no, these 10 days should be consistent and continuous. He says, yes, the first 3 days that she sees, it has to be consistent and continuous. Okay? Now, if women sees a blood after the age of menopause, any blood she sees is not considered period. It's considered istihada. What is the age of menopause? He says we have 2 ages. One for the Qarashiyya, someone from Quraysh, the Arab tribe of Quraysh. Her age of menopause is considered 60. But the one who's not Qarashiyya, she's not from Quraysh, her age of menopause is 50. So there is a difference.
How did they come up with this?
Definitely they came up based on experience, but whether this experience was only in the Arabian Peninsula or the whole world, we don't know.
In the US,
This is debatable.
51.
Huh?
In the US is about 51.
51.
Yeah.
The average 51? So we have to prove that this is universal. But definitely this is true in the Arabian Peninsula. Or let's say the Middle East. But we don't know in Australia the same, South Africa the same,
Yeah.
Africa the same, I don't know.
Yeah.
And they wrote this like 1,300 years ago. No.
No, this book is 700.
700 years ago.
The genetics.
Genetic, yeah.
60 is pretty-
Yeah. Now, there is a big mistake in the translation, in the sentence that I am going to say. See where he says after the age of 50 for the one who is non-Qurashi and Nabataean, which is Arab. After that says, وَكُلُّ دَمٍ رَأَتْهُ الْمَرْأَةُ دُونَ ثَلَاثَةِ أَيَّامٍ. Not 3 years old. He made a big mistake, unfortunately. He did not understand the sentence, the guy, the translator. He said the blood that is seen by a girl who is less than 3 years old. No. The blood that is seen by a woman less than 3 days. Less than 3 days. فَلَيْسَ بِحَيْضٍ. It is not considered a period. So correct the girl which is do you see the sentence or not? What does it say, Umid, in the sentence? Read it for me.
Girl before reaching the age of 3.
Yeah, cross that. Say the blood that is seen by a woman less than 3 days.
For less than 3 days?
For less than 3 days, it's not considered period. Whether this lady is mubtadi'a, a beginner, mubtadi'a means beginner, she sees the blood for the very first time in her life, or someone who's not beginner, she has a period, she has a pattern, okay? So less than 3 days, it's not considered. So if it is not considered hayd, what do we consider it, my friends? Istihada. And it has its own rules. So she still can keep her fast and she still can pray. Okay? وما تراه من الثلاثة إلى العشرة, between 3 to 10, which is possible to be period, is considered period. Why he says which is possible to be period? Why he didn't say whatever she sees between 3 to 10 is period, absolutely period? Because she could be bleeding. She had a disease. Not necessarily period. Bleeding, internal bleeding, let's say. Huh? So, if it matches, there is a possibility of it to be period, then it is considered period. Okay?
So where he says definitely hay, then that's not.
He didn't say definitely because
He
it
wrote
could.
it here.
Huh?
He wrote it here is definitely hay,
Yeah.
but that's not correct.
No, it's correct. If it is matches the description of hayd, then it is definitely hayd.
Oh, okay.
If it is matches. But suppose, no, she had hayd, she just finished 5 days ago.
Yeah, it can't be.
So we don't consider it in that case. سواء تجانس أو اختلف. Whether the blood was the same like last time or different. If there is room to consider it as period, then it would be period. But if there is no room, rationally there is no room, practically there is no room to be considered, then we don't consider it. Okay? وتصير المرأة ذات عادة. See, ذات عادة means that a woman who has either a regular period or a regular time. Regular period, they call it عددية. Regular time, they call it وقتية. عددية means her number is exact. Each time she sees blood, 5 days. Each time. وقتية, it means each time she sees blood is, let's say, the beginning of the month. Today was the 1st of Jumada Thani, let's say. She sees Jumada beginning until 5 of Jumada. The first 5 days. This is what? وقتية. وقتية, zaman. Its waqt is from the beginning of the month until the 5th, let's say. Adad, no. It could be the beginning of the month, sometimes middle of the month, sometimes the end of the month. But the adad, the number of the days are equal. Okay? So, how do we start creating the pattern for her? She creates a pattern for herself. When she sees the blood, let's say today was the beginning of Jumada Athani, lunar calendar. Are you with me, Dr. Omid?
Yes.
She sees the blood today. And then for 5 days. So she says, okay, this month I saw the blood from the 1st of the month until the 5th. And then the blood stops. She gets clean. And then it comes back again, the month of Rajab, next month again, from the 1st till the 5th, same time. Then, when she sees it twice, she establishes the pattern. She would say, my period then, it's from the beginning of the month until the 5th of the month. Okay? And she would consider that time as a period, menstruation. مسائل 5. 5 مسائل. ذات العادة تترك الصلاة والصوم برؤية الدم إجماعا. Someone who knows her timing and the number of the days, definitely once the beginning of the month arrives and she sees the blood, immediately she stops praying and fasting. She doesn't wait because she knows there is a pattern. There is an established pattern. Okay? She's regular. Regular in the zaman from 1 until 1 and in the number of the days. She's regular. Okay? So she stops.
Whether she sees the blood or not, she stops.
No. When she sees the blood.
Oh.
Yeah, of course. Before she sees the blood.
Like the 30th of the month before, she doesn't just automatically
No.
stop. prayer.
Once she sees the blood, she stops. Because we're going to have other cases. She sees the blood, but she continues praying and fasting until she is confirmed that this is menstruation. That case is the one who has disturbance, disorder in her period. وفي المبتدئة, there is disagreement. The one who is a beginner, seeing the blood for the first time. He says she continues praying and fasting for 3 days until the completion of the 3 days. So unfortunately, if it turns to be, she has to do prayers and fasting. So if it completed the 3 days, this means this was period. But if the blood stopped before the 3rd day, 3 days, how many hours we have 3 days? 72. Let's say stopped at 68 hours. Then this is not blood. This is not menstruation. Okay? If she لو رأت الدم 3 أيام ثم انقطع ورأت قبل العاشر كان الكل حيضا. If she sees the blood regularly for 3 days and then stops and then she sees it again on the 9th day and then the 10th day. Though she didn't see any blood on the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, but we consider her to be during her period. Why? Because we said minimum 3, maximum 10. Anything in between is considered hayd. ولو تجاوز العشرة, if the blood passed the 10 days, then he says we would tell you what to do. The author is saying, I will discuss that later. But ولو تأخر بمقدار 10 أيام ثم رأت. Now, if the blood she saw that 3 days and then stopped for 10 days and then she sees another blood. So the first 3 days she saw, we consider it what? To be what? حيض. كان الأول حيضا. والثاني يمكن أن يكون حيضا مستأنفا. The second one is also could be another period. Why? Because we said the minimum period of purity, طهر, should be 10 days. So the first one is considered حيض and the second one is considered حيض. الثالثة إذا انقطع الدم لدون 10. Now, she sees the blood and the blood stops on the 7th day. Let's say 7th. It was regular until the 6th day, 7th day, 8th day. Okay? Less than 10 days. Then she has to check herself to see whether the blood is coming out, discharged or not. If she checks out herself and she sees herself clean, then she does the ghusl and her period is over. But if she checks herself and she finds some trace of a blood, in that case, she waits until 10 days. If she is a beginner, he doesn't say 10 days. صبرت المبتدئة حتى تنقى.
No, it says 10 days.
It says, in the Arabic it doesn't say. It says if she's a beginner, she waits until 10 days. Then that if it continues, then the first 10 days is considered hayd. Above 10 days is considered what? Istihada. But if she is not a beginner, she has a pattern. What do we call her in Arabic, the one who has a pattern? Dhatul Ada. Ada means pattern. She knows. It's in the beginning of every month, in the middle of every month, on the 10th of every month, and it is 5 days. she, in this case, she waits 1 or 2 days. If the blood continues, let's say she has only 5 days, but now it's more than 5 days. So she does not do the ghusl. She would still consider what is coming out to be hayd. She waits 1 day or 2 days. Many of the maraja, they say 1 day, 24 hours. If she didn't see any blood, after that she does the ghusl and she says, my period is over, and I begin praying or fasting if it is Ramadan. Now, if the blood continues until the 10th and stops, قضت ما فعلته من صوم. Unfortunately, she has to make up her fast for these 10 days. Okay? Because that is considered what? Period. And in the period, she cannot fast, and therefore she has to make up. But she does not do the prayers, by the way. You know that. وَإِن تَجَاوَزَ كَانَتْ مَا أَتَتْ بِهِ مُجْزِيًا. But if it continues after 10 days, then after 10 days her prayers and her fasting is okay, because that is not period anymore. That is istihada, and she can do fast and do pray during the istihada. Okay? Now, if she gets clean, then she can have relationship with her husband even before having ghusl, but it is makruh. It is mustahab to have ghusl. The other one, إذا دخل وقت الصلاة فحاضت. As soon as the mu'adhin said Allahu Akbar, she was clean. Allahu Akbar. Now you know they are forgiven. They don't pray. Even after that, they don't make up the prayers. If he said Allahu Akbar, and usually her dhuhr takes 5 minutes, wudu takes 3 minutes, let's say, wudu 3 minutes, salat 5 minutes. What's the total? 8 minutes. If she didn't pray in these 8 minutes, the period started 8 minutes after the adhan, then she must make up the dhuhr. But if the mu'adhin said Allahu Akbar after 2 minutes, which is not even enough to do wudu, or 3 minutes just to do wudu, not to do prayers, she saw the blood, she doesn't do the dhuhr. Are you with me? Now, if the blood stops 8 minutes before sunset, yeah, 8 minutes before sunset, how much we said she needs time to do wudu and to pray? 8 minutes. In that case, she has to do Salat al-Asr. If she didn't, then she has to make up Salat al-Asr. Because Salat al-Asr, she still had time, 8 minutes, for wudu and Salat, but she chose not to do. So she has to make up Salat al-Asr, not the Dhuhr, because there was not enough time. Dhuhr fell in the period of blood. Asr fell in the period of cleanliness. Are you with me? But if, let's say, there was only 2 minutes left, neither she can do wudu nor prayers, so it's dropped. She doesn't have to make up that. She doesn't have to do qada. Are you with me?
Even though she didn't pray, technically she didn't pray at all.
Yeah, because the tuhur, the cleanliness, the blood stopped 2 minutes before sunset, and these 2 minutes are not enough.
The other way around. Yeah.
Yeah, these 2 minutes are not enough for her to go rush to do wudu and salat. Not enough.
Right.
So she doesn't make up that. But let's say if the blood stopped 10 minutes, she was able to do wudu and at least one salat. Which salat she should do in this case? Asr, because it's closer to the sunset. Okay?
So you
And
don't consider the time to do ghusl in the time? You only look at wudu and...
yeah. He says, he doesn't say ghusl. He doesn't say ghusl. He's speaking about qada because it's not practical. Women, it's impossible for them to get clean and do the prayers. So most likely they are going to miss it. Now, if she realizes that she had enough time to do wudu and salat, then that prayers has to be done later on. Okay? He's not saying she must do the prayers during that time, because by the time she goes to, she gets water, she does the ghusl, takes time. So if she knows that she became tahir before sunset, at least 8 minutes, or let's say 12 minutes, or 13 minutes, which is enough for wudu and dhuhr and asr, then she has to make up later on. وصلى الله وسلم على سيدنا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين.